Hi there, Philip here. In this video, I want to test the new ChatGPT o1 preview model. Since everybody is testing it out, I would like to give it a try and create a 2D game in Unity. And I want from you to do the same thing. You can follow this video and we will try to create a simple 2D game together. This video is code along, so as I will be coding, you will be following what I am doing, or you will go on your own. It's up to you. Okay, so let's start. The first thing, I have wrote this prompt in ChatGPT. You need to select the O1 preview model. And the description of the game is following. The type of the game is infinite runner, where the player is basically standing and environment is moving towards the player. The player will control a spaceship. The spaceship will be only controlled by the space key on the keyboard when the player will be holding the space key, and the ship will go up. When it will be not holding the space key, it will be going down. And you can also read it out. The same prompt you can find also in the description of this video. So there are some specifications, some description of the game, and also in the end of this I asked to provide the code to create this project and give me the exact steps how to implement this. You also, of course, this game is in Unity, so you need to have a Unity installed. And whenever you are ready, I will now go back here and I will press enter to give this prompt to ChatGPT, and we'll see what it will come up with. Okay, and I'm really curious. Okay, okay, it was thinking only for 4 seconds, so not that long. And here is the code. Okay, let's see what it will come up with, because I saw some examples that lots of people are writing on X or Twitter previously, or on social media, and I saw a lot of videos. But I wasn't that much impressed, because the previous ChatGPT models are very great for coding. So yeah, anyway, let's try to implement this. So okay, we have the code here, everything is ready. So now I will run the stopwatch. So I want to see how long I will be implementing this, and we'll get into it. Okay, so start, let's go to here, and here it is. Here's the answer. Okay, below there are the exact steps. Create a Unity project. Okay, select the 2D core. Okay, let's go. So let's go to Unity Hub, create here a new project, and select here 2D built-in render pipeline or universal 2D. I think this meant, here it says 2D core, so I think this will be the universal 2D core. That's what we should go with. Okay, and the project name will be, does it provide a project name? The name of project Infinite Runner Game. I will just call it Infinite Spaceship. Okay, so project name will be Infinite Spaceship. Okay, I will create this project, Universal 2D. Let's create project. Okay, and we'll go and take a look. We clicked create, so that this should be created. And now we are going to create empty game object, rename it to the game controller. Okay, and then we'll create a new sprite, squared, and this will be your spaceship. Okay, then we'll create a player, so I assume we will be creating the player script and so on. Okay, so we'll wait until this will be loaded. Okay, it will take some time. And while this is doing, I will just go briefly to the GitHub, to my terminal, and I will just locate my project here, and I want to init here git. So later when you will be watching video, you can check my GitHub repository. Okay, this is already done, so I can write here git init and git add to initialize this project. Okay, so I will not do anything yet. I will just wait until the GitHub is initialized, and then we'll continue in programming. Just give me a second. Okay, it isn't done. I'll just write a commit, just very quickly, init. Okay, and I'm done with this. Okay, so we are going here. I will be following the steps, right? So set up the game scene. Okay, in the hierarchy window, right click and select create empty, rename it to game controller. Okay, so let's do this step. Let's go to Unity, right click, create empty, call it game controller. Perfect. That's done. Let's see. Now right click in the hierarchy and select to the object, sprite, square. This will be your spaceship. Okay, the same thing. Right click to the object, sprite, looking for square. This will be our player, so we'll call it player. Okay, and here is our nice square. Alright, so what's the next step? Rename it to square to the player. We've done this. In the inspector, set the transform position to -600 to place it on the left side of the screen. Okay, very interesting. -6x, so it will be here on the left side, and you will zoom out to see the square is on the left side here. Perfect. Also, when you play the game, you will see it will be on the left side. Okay, perfect. There's our spaceship. Now, add rigid body to the component, set body type to kinematic, since we want to use real-world physics. That was one of my specifications, to not use real-world physics. So that's why we are going with the kinematic, because kinematic is not using real-world physics. And we'll add box collider to the component to it. So let's do it. Let's get back here, player, on the right side, add here component. We're looking for box collider 2D. All right, that's done. Add component and the rigid body 2D. Rigid body 2D. So we have the box collider 2D. I just make this slightly larger. A box collider 2D and rigid body, and body type is dynamic, so we will change it for kinematic. Okay, perfect. So this is also done. Okay, step number 4, implement player controls. In the project window, create a new folder named scripts. Right click inside of the scripts folder and select create C# script, name it player controller. Okay, so and let's do it. Create here in the assets. It told us in assets, right? Didn't specify it really. Inside the scripts folder and create in the project window, create a new folder named scripts. Okay, so I'll just do it. Create new folder, scripts. And if I would be creating this, I would create some folder for my game, and then I would create a scripts folder. But yeah, I was just following the steps now. So scripts here, and create here a new C# script, and let's call it player controller. All right, press enter. Here's a player controller script. I will go to the player, and I assume that we need to attach it there. So I'll go to player on the right side in the inspector, on the bottom of the inspector, add component, and select here player controller. Okay, I'll just move it up here so it will be easier for us to see. So here is up my player controller on the player game object. Okay. You create player controller, open player controller, and replace its content with the following code. So I'm not reading it, I'll just copy the code. I will go here and I will just click here and edit script. This should open my coding editor, and I trust this. And my player controller is here. I'm using Visual Studio Code, by the way. If this didn't open Visual Studio Code for you, I'm using Visual Studio Code, and to set it up, hopefully I will find it now. Unity settings and external tools, external script editor, and here you can see Visual Studio Code. You can browse here and you can find your Visual Studio Code and find it there, and this will be opening from this point on your Visual Studio Code when you click edit script. Okay, where we were, back here, and I will just paste the code we have just copied. We'll just very briefly look here. So we have here throttle power, so this will be the strength of which will be going up probably. Gravity, we know that will be how fast we'll be going down, and our current vertical velocity, so how fast we'll be moving vertically. Here we are catching, if we are pressing the space key, we are increasing the vertical velocity by the throttle power. And when we are not pressing the space key, our velocity is going down over time. That's here, gravity multiplied by delta time. Gravity is negative value, as we have here. So vertical velocity will be going down. And here will be the movement. So we'll be applying the movement with the translate method in the vertical. So only on the y-axis, the movement will be applied. Here is a keep the player within the camera bounds. So here we are checking our camera viewport. And we are clamping the position Y of the viewport, and then we're applying the transform position to camera main viewport to world point. Okay, that's very interesting actually. Let's see. Let's save this. I don't know. I'm not really sure why we are keeping this code here. I don't think we need it, but yeah, let's see what will happen now. I will just save this, make sure the player controller is attached to your player, And let's select, we don't need to change here anything, just play the game. We should go down by default, and then press, we're going up. Okay, so now I see why this is implemented this way. I'm quite okay with this. It just keep us in the boundaries. I specify in the ChatGPT we will touch the boundaries of the camera. We should lose the game. That's why it confused me. But here it just basically doesn't allow us to go higher than the boundaries. That's why we have here clamping, that we are clamping this Y position when we are going up and down from 0.05 to 0.95. So when you will look probably at the player position, when you will go completely up, stop the game, you should be at the Y. Let me check it. Okay, so this is taking positions like the camera seeing them. So these are not the like really world positions. But here you are transforming the camera position to world position. That's why. So with the camera up here is a position position 1 probably. This is the 1 position, and here is position 0. So that's why it keeps us in between them. So that's why we are translating between world view to point and viewport to world point. Okay. So first the player position is transformed into the camera position, and the camera position is this position I showed you now between 0 and 1, and we are clapping it between the 0.05 and 0.95. Why between these values? Because if I would get it 0 and 1 like this, probably half of my square would go behind the map. I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, so that will go up now completely. The half of my cube is going. Okay, so that's why. Because then you will stop the game and you look at the player here, and the player position is in the middle. The transform position is in the middle of the cube, and this distance here between is this 0.5, 0.5 we are applying to 1. So that's why, that's why basically we are playing this clamping, and not 0 to 1, but 0.05 and 0.95, because that's this difference, the transfer position on our cube, and its upper boundary and lower boundary. Hopefully it's clear, but you saw what this does, so we don't need to really think about it much. But we're just basically transforming the camera view into the world position view, and then back from world position view to the camera view. To keep in the boundaries. But let's go back to it. We can move now. This works, and now we are going to create obstacles. Okay, it's telling us to right-click on the hierarchy and select to the object, create a sprite, square, and rename it to obstacle. Okay, so I'm just taking a look here. Okay, so let's go to our game view. We will create here new obstacles. So right-click here to the object sprites. We'll go with a square as well. Again, we will call it obstacle. Okay, what else it's suggesting to us? Adjust its scale and position to look like an obstacle. Scale 1, we have scale 1, position 10 and 0. Okay, I don't know why this is really important, but okay. Doesn't make much sense to me. 10 and 0, we don't really... Okay, let's just go on. So 10 and 0, so you can see the obstacle is here. What else it's telling us? Add box collider to it, a rigid body, and set body type to kinematic as well. Okay, so we'll do it. Let's add here a rigid body to D and make it kinematic, and add here box collider to D. And let's change the color so we know this is really obstacle. So here, as you have a color and sprite renderer, just go with the red color like this. Okay. So this is done. All right, so this is done. Obstacle movement script. So this will be basically just for moving the obstacle towards the player. So let's just create this script. I'll just copy code now. We can create all these scripts in our coding editor. We are here, so in the scripts folder, I can just new file. And how it was called? Obstacle mover? Or how it's called? Obstacle mover. So new file, obstacle mover.cs. Paste it here. So this is the speed of the obstacle, how fast it will go towards the player. Here is the movement, and here is if the position will go the X position of the obstacle will be lower than -10, will destroy the obstacle. So this is just a game object management, so we will not creating that many obstacles. So that when they will go off the camera, we will just destroy them. Okay, so obstacle mover. So far very simple. Let's get back here, and we need to assign obstacle mover to obstacle, but I should follow the steps, right? So I shouldn't go ahead. So attach obstacle mover script to obstacle object. Okay, so add component again, obstacle mover. I'll just add it again up, so it's on our eyes. Speed is 5. And just save it and let's set to play it. So we'll see it should go towards us. Okay, yeah, it's going. Perfect. All right, so the obstacle went, and we'll follow the next steps. So next steps, obstacle spawner. So it will be spawning the obstacles. Create an empty game object and name it obstacle spawner. Set position to 10, 0, 0. Okay, so back here, create empty obstacle spawner. Position to, as I said, 10, 0, 0. Add component. We don't have obstacle spawner yet, right? So yeah, we need to probably create script also for it. So create a new script called obstacle spawner and add the following code. I'll just copy the code. I'll go here. I'll create here a new file, obstacle spawner cs. Paste it here. Okay, so we have a prefab of the game object. So this will be our obstacles. Will be spawning prefabs and spawn interval. So every 2 seconds will be spawning. Timer to keep the time of spawn. So we'll be increasing the timer. When timer will be greater or same as the spawn interval, so these 2 seconds, we'll spawn an obstacle, reset the timer. That's normal. Okay, and then we will just spawn obstacle. Obstacle will be spawn y random range between the -4 and 4. Interesting choice here, because what we could do here instead, we could use the camera boundaries, and we could use the current camera boundaries y position and decide the range how they should be spawned. Let's check what will be the range -4, 4 in our view. Probably it will be from the bottom to the top. So let's see, when we'll select the obstacle in your map here and go with the y -4. Yeah, it's a bottom. And 4 will be top. But if we would change the camera, so that we would place the camera to capture the bigger part of our screen or smaller, probably it wouldn't work. Okay, I don't want to play with this because I want to follow the exact steps, but yeah, -4, 4 works. Yeah, you saw it. It's between. So yeah, let's place the player where it was before, the position, then obstacle the position where it was before, 10, 0, 0. Okay, so yeah, for sure, this works for us. Position -4, 4 works. We can change it if we need later. We are getting the position randomly from this range, okay, and then we will spawning the obstacle. Okay. So yeah, we have this. Now we can go back here. Attach the obstacle spawner to obstacle spawner and drag the obstacle prefab into obstacle prefab slot. Actually, did it instruct us to create a prefab before? Let me see. Create obstacle. Okay. No, it didn't. Okay, so it skipped this step. Remit obstacle. It didn't instruct us to create a prefab from obstacle. Okay. Okay. No. Attach the obstacles. No, it didn't instruct us. Okay. So attach the obstacle spawner script to obstacle spawner object. So that's the next step. We'll be following it. So as we have obstacle spawner, I will just need to wait for a compile. Obstacle spawner. We'll add here a script obstacle spawner, and you can see we need to choose here a prefab for to create the game object. So we will, as we have an assets folder here, we'll create here a new folder down here, and we'll create here a folder, and we'll call it prefabs. We will open the folder, and we will just drag and drop our obstacle to this prefab folder, and now we have obstacle in the prefab folder, and we can use it in our obstacle spawner. So we'll select obstacle spawner. And here we have prefab, so we'll drag and drop it here. And now it's in a prefab. So now when we'll play the game, we should already getting generated some obstacles in the way. All right, you can see, yeah, they're getting generated. There are no collisions captured yet. And the game is not very reactive. And I will change the spawn interval to 1, it will be much quicker. You see the interval is 1 second, so they are more close to each other. And as the time will progress in your game, you can just play with this and you can change the spawn interval to lower values, for example. I want to make this more reactive because the player is falling down too slowly and going up. Going up is actually good, but going down is not very reactive. So let's play with this a little bit. We'll click on the player and we will go with some crazy values like gravity minus 100 and total power to 20, let's say. Let's see what will we do. This will do for us. Yeah, that is actually good. And now we have a basically, if I'm thinking about it, we have a Flappy Bird style game. Okay, but it's more reactive when you're pressing that. And when pressing the space, it's going faster and faster up and faster down. Okay, yeah, for now, this works for me. Okay, now we can follow the steps more. So let's see what we have here. So this is done. Make obstacle. Here is a step of make obstacle prefab. How I skipped it. I didn't read it so far. So yeah, ChatGPT thought about everything. So we've done already this step. We create obstacle prefab. Okay, now scoring system. Create a new UI text for the score. Right click in the hierarchy, select UI text, text mesh pro. Okay, rename the text object to score text. Okay, but it didn't tell us to create canvas, because when you want to create UI, you shouldn't create a canvas also. So this is one of the things that it didn't tell us. Doesn't really matter, but we will do it. Anyway, we will go here, we will right click here, we will create here UI, and we will click here canvas. Screen space overlay can stay. Yep, that's good. Now it told us to create text mesh pro, so right click here, go with the UI again and create here text mesh pro. You will need to install it, so import TMP essentials, you will click it. This will install the package you need. You can close it now. Okay, let's follow the steps more. Right click the hierarchy. Okay, text mesh pro, import, we imported, rename the text object to score text. Let's do it. Here's the text, just change it to the score text. All right. Position the score text at the top left corner of the screen. Okay, so to do it easily, double click score text. So here it is, score text. Double click it, okay? And now to get it in the left top corner, it's very, very simple. Just here in the centering, just choose this centering, top left. See here, leave it this way. And here, click on this type of the selection tool, rect tool on the left side. You see these tools here, you have a rect tool. And here, you have something called pivot point in the middle, this blue circle you see. Just move the pivot point on the left top here. Okay, so the pivot point is basically 0, 1. Here, as you have anchors, pivot, on the right side, as I'm moving my mouse, here's a 0, 1. And now, to get it to the top left corner, just select the position X and Y to 0, 0, 0, 0. You can zoom out a little bit, and you will see this will be here. To make it in the middle, just go down here on the inspector on the right side and provide the alignment center, center. So this will be this one, center and center here, horizontally and vertically. And this will be your score. So when you will now go from the scene view to game view, and up here you just check the game view, this is how it look like. So there will be your score. Now it's saying new text, but it will be score. Okay, so now let's go back. Create a new script called Score Manager. Okay, so it's telling us to create a new script called Score Manager. Let's do it. I'll just copy the code immediately, and I will go to here, and I will create scripts, new script, score manager.cs. I'll paste everything here. Here we have this score text we have created, so we'll be providing the reference to the score text we have created. And in update, as we'll be running the game, we'll be increasing the score by our time. Okay, so we'll be capturing the time as long as we are playing, and this will be our score. And this will be saying score, column, and this will be the score value. But before we'll provide the value, we'll floor it down, so it will not be showing decimal numbers. I think this should do it. Okay, so we have Score Manager. Let's save this. I will follow the next steps. So attach score manager to the game controller object. Okay, and drag the score text object to the score text field in the inspector. Okay, so we'll go to game controller. So go back here. Let's go to the game controller. Until after it's compile, let's add here score manager. Here is the text you see. So we'll go to the canvas, score text, and drag it there. Okay, let's save this. And now you should see as you will be playing the game, this should increasing the score. 1, 2, each second you should see it. All right, so this works. Okay, I'll shut this down. This works, but we cannot collide really with enemies so far. So I suppose that it will be the next step to also get these mechanics so we can capture collisions between the boundaries of the map and the enemies. So I'll stop the game and we'll go back to our, we'll go here to see what's the next steps. Collision detection and lives. Add a tag to the player. Select player, go to the top inspector, click tag and add tag, click plus button, and it's really detailed. Click plus button and create new tag called player. Assign the player tag to the player object. Okay, so we should be able to do this. Let's click on the player here. As you have a tags up here, okay, select it, add tag. Here is a list is empty tags. Let's click the plus button and call it player. Save it. Okay, so now let's click on the player, and as you have a tag untagged, select here, and here you should have a player. So let's select a player now. Okay, we have no player here selected. Follow the next steps. Create a new script called player collision. Okay, we'll have a separate script for collisions. Perfect. Copy the code. I will go now here. New file. Call it player collision CS. I'll paste the code here. We'll read it briefly. So we have 3 lives. And on trigger enter, so we'll be colliding with the enemy. We'll be comparing the tag. If the game object we are colliding with have a tag obstacle, so the next step will be probably to create an obstacle tag on the obstacles. We will decrement the lives, and they will destroy the game object we are colliding with. And if the lives is smaller than or equal to 0, we'll load a scene, game over scene. Okay, interesting choice to load the separate scene for this. Okay, so this will take some time to implement all of this, to create also a new scene here. Interesting. Okay, so on trigger enter, that's done. Let's go back to where we are going now, back to here. Okay, so attach player collision to the player object, tag the obstacle prefab as obstacle, create tag if necessary. Okay, so go back here. We will click on obstacle, not obstacle, we'll go to player first and we'll go to that component and call right here player collision. I'll just move it up here so you can see it better. All right, player collision here. Okay, so we apply controller, player collision. Now we'll click on the obstacle. We have still on the scene. Okay, so here is the obstacle in the scene view. Currently I am. I'll scroll on top of here and tag the same process, add tag, click here plus button, call it obstacle, save it, click on the obstacle again, tag and select here obstacle. Now, to apply this to prefab, because now we are applying to the game object in our scene, not to the prefab, so you will see these overrides here, click overrides, apply all. And now, when you will go to prefabs in your project view, and you have in the prefabs you have obstacle, double click it, so you're in this view, and you should see here the tag is obstacle as well. So by overriding it, we apply this change to our prefab. Okay, we'll go with this left arrow next to the obstacle back, and now I'm back in my scene. Okay, so back here. Attach player collision to player object. We have done this. We have added tags. So now step 11, create game over scene. Go to file, a new scene, create a UI text that says game over. Okay, let's do it. So in our assets, as you see here, we have a scenes folder. Here we have a sample scene. Okay, I will just go ahead and I don't know if I'm instructor to rename this. Not really, but I will call it simply game scene. I'll call it the game scene, so I know that that will be the scene when I'm playing my game. I'll right click here, create, and I'll create a new scene. So here you see the scene. I will call it game over scene. That will be my game over scene. Okay, so we have a game over scene. Let's continue let's see what next. Create a UI text that says game over at button for a start. Right click in the hierarchy, select UI button text pro, rename it to restart button, change the button text to restart. Okay, I suppose now we should go to this new scene. Okay, so to go to the game over scene, you can just double click the game over scene, and now you will be in empty scene. You see there is nothing here, and you have just main camera, nothing here. So the same, we will create here UI in canvas, UI and canvas. See, the steps were not provided by ChatGPT to create a canvas. Very interesting. And okay, we have a canvas, and the first thing was here to create a UI text says game over. Let's do it. So in the canvas, make sure it's selected, right click here, create a UI and text mesh pro. You can double click text mesh pro so you can see actually where is your text here. Okay, we'll write here game over, game over. We will make it bigger. So here, as you see width, increase it to, let's say 300. 300, height can stay. And again, positioning, you can just center it out like this in the middle. Center, if you want this way. And also it told us to create game over to restart button, right? So add button for a restart. Right click hierarchy, select UI button, text mesh pro, rename it to the restart button. Okay. So this text I'll call game over text. Game over text. I'll create here a right click again on the canvas UI. Let's see, where is the button? Button text mesh pro here. Text mesh pro. Okay, we will call it restart underscore button. We will place this button a little bit under game over text. So we'll go with this in the selection tool on the left side. You see this panel, move tool. So move tool and just this green axis hold and move it a little bit down under. Okay, and this will be a restart. So select in the hierarchy or restart button, click this and open it. And here is a text. And here it says button, just write it restart. Okay, if you want to see how it will look like, just click here game view, and that's how it will look like. Okay, now I'll go back to scene view. Okay, so let's see the next steps what we need to do. So create a new script called game over manager, and here is the thing what we need to do. So copy the code. Okay, and we will go back to coding editor now, scripts. Right click new file and game over manager.cs, paste it here. Over should be uppercase. Okay, so just rename my script here, game over. And restarting the game is very simple. It's just loading the scene again, a main scene. Actually, our scene is not called main scene. So this is very important here that you're selecting the scene that you have, and our scene is not called main scene. So that's wrong. We need to go to our Unity, and we need to go to assets, and we need to look in our scenes folder what scenes names we have. Our scene is called game scene. So on the restart of the game, we want to go to game scene like this. Okay. One other thing you need to make sure of, go back to Unity, wait until it's recompiled, open here to top panel and click here file and build settings. And in build settings, you will see what scenes you have in a build. You have only game scene here currently. So we need to add here all of our scenes. So we will click here, add open scenes. Click here, add open scenes, and you should add your game over scene here. So you have a game scene and game over scene here in the build settings. If you don't have any of them, you can just drag and drop them. So you will go from the scene folder and you can drag and drop them here. Okay, just select scene and drag and drop it here. So make sure you have a game scene and game over scene here. Okay. Now, okay, so we will take one more time look. We will look one more time here. We are going to this game scene on the restart and go for a second to your other manager where we have it. Score manager. No. Player controller. Where we have it. Object spawner, obstacle mover. Where we're losing the life. Here, the player collision it is. Okay, so in the player collision CS, where we lost all of the lives, we are loading the scene game over scene. Also, this name need to match your game over scene name. So I will just very briefly go back here and check the scene name, and game over scene is matching the scene name here. So this scene name needs to match the scene and also this one here. Okay, so this is done. We'll go back to here. Okay, attach game over manager to an empty game object in the scene. Okay, so go to your back to Unity, create here new game object, empty one. So right click here, create empty, call it game over manager, add component game over manager. Okay, and let's look here. Add empty game object to scene. Add on click event to the restart button. In the inspector, scroll on click plus button, drag the object with game over manager into the non-object field, select game over manager, restart game from the drop down. Okay, so what it wants to do, now go to your canvas, select the restart button here. Okay, and here you see on click. The list is empty. Click this plus button, and here you have object. You can select the object from here. So you will drag your game over manager from the hierarchy. So just drag and drop your game over manager to this field, game over manager. And on the right side, as you have a no function, just open the drop down, select here game over manager, and select here the restart game method. You see these methods here, you just select the restart game. So here you have a on click, you're selecting game over manager and a restart game method. So when you will click this restart button here, it will be restarting the game. Okay, this is done. Okay, so this we have done. Setup, scene, management. And okay, here are the steps what I wanted to, what we already done. Go to file, build settings, add both scenes to the scene scenes in a build. So we have done this. We have done our game over scene, also our game scene in there. Ensure the game scene is named main scene and it is at the index 0. So is our main scene at the index 0? We can verify it very quickly. We can go to file, build settings, and game scene is at the index 0. Yes, that's correct. Okay. Now the camera boundaries. Adjust the camera orthographic size to fit your game view. So let's click on we'll go to the game view now. Double click the game scene. Now we are in the game scene. Just click on the player so you can see it actually. Here, double click the player and zoom it out. And select the camera and orthographic view, and you can see you can increase the size of the camera, and that's why I was talking about this spawning of the enemies, because then I will choose the really big view like this. Default view is 5, right? I will go with the 10, let's say. So I will play the game now. You see that the enemies will be spawned only in this range. They will not go higher. I kind of like this view that it's a little bit further from the player, but you can see the enemies are not spotted over the entire map, but only in this -4 distance. So that's going to be a problem, of course. Okay, but never mind it. Let's go with the 5.5. We can change these things later. So let's keep 5. All right. Adjust the camera artifact size. Okay. In the player controller script, we already claimed the player position within the viewport. Not really. In the player control script, we have already claimed the player's position within the... yeah, that we have done. Yeah, player controller is clipped in between the positions. That's correct. Testing the game. Save all scenes and scripts. Click play to test the game. Ensure the player can move up by holding the spacebar. Obstacle spawn at the intervals and to move towards the player. The score is increased. Colliding with obstacles decrease the lives. After 3 collisions, the game over screen is displayed. Adjust difficulty. Okay, so what we can do to adjust difficulty? Modify obstacle spawner and control the interval. Okay, we know that. Adjust the speed of the obstacle mover to make obstacles move faster. Enhance visually. Use the different colors for the player and obstacles by changing the sprite renderer color. Audio optional. Okay, so now we have done all of it, so we can just test it out. Let's try to collide 3 times with the enemy. So let's go. Okay, the collision doesn't work. Okay, so we are not really colliding. Okay, time for debugging. So let's click on the player. The player is stacked player. It has player collision script that we can verify. We will verify one more time prefab. So prefabs, click on the obstacle. Obstacle is stacked by the obstacle. It has a rigid body kinematic. And let me verify one thing, by the way. I don't know if it was specified. Let's click on the player collision. We are going with the method name with the method on trigger enter. So one of our game object has to be trigger. I think we didn't set it up. I just want to very shortly want to search here if ChatGPT suggested us this thing, and I can just see here only one occurrence on trigger. So the ChatGPT didn't tell us that we should enable trigger on one of the game objects. So I don't see it at least here. Okay, so why we're not capturing the collision is that simply we need to go to the player, and as we have here box collider 2D, we need to select is trigger on, like this. Okay, so now let's play the game. All right, so let's play the game. We should collide with three times. 1, 2, 3. Game over. Now we can click restart, and we are going again. Okay, one more time. Do you want to try it out? 1, 2, and 3. And now restart. Okay, so this works. Now the boundaries of the game. We can see when I'm colliding with the top and bottom, the game is not really game over. We should maybe implement this, or you can implement something else, but I'm going with this, that when we'll collide with the top and bottom, we want to restart the game. And we'll ask GPT for it. Okay, so let me go here. Hopefully you can see this. I can adjust it for you. Okay, so we will ask GPT how actually we'll formulate. Let me see. We have a player controller. Here we are clamping. Okay, so I'll do this. As we are clamping player position in player controller script, I want instead decrease the life, or I want to instead lose the game immediately when the player touches camera boundaries. Okay, I have just some typos. That should be a problem for ChatGPT. I'll just press enter. Okay, so now instead of clamping, when the player position will be equal to the position of the camera upper boundary, I suppose we will be calling the script to lose the game immediately. So we'll be restarting the game. We'll go immediately to the game overview. That's what I assume. So we'll be checking the player position of the regarding the camera. So we'll be again transferring position between the camera and the world, and we'll be checking the position. So we can see in here an update. We have here a new method is out of camera view. We are loading the scene game over scene, and here is the original code actually, and here is the viewport position is between 1 and 0. Okay, if our position is larger than 1 and lower than 0, then we are returning the true, so we are out of the camera view and we can go to the new scene. Okay, so that's actually a good solution. At this 1 and 0, I think now we will go only the halfway of the player body will go to the camera. You will see it. Actually, let's just go with this. Let's copy this if statement. Go here, and as you have update, this we can remove. Okay, we'll go this, and now we'll copy this. All right. And I'll show you one cool thing. I'm using the Copilot extension in my Visual Studio Code. So here extensions, and I have here GitHub Copilot. You need to pay for it. You need to go to GitHub website and you need to pay for it. First month is for free, but I need to really tell you this really increased my productivity in terms of programming, because let's remove this. Okay, and this will be just purely what will be done by the Copilot. Okay, so right here, for example, vector, or actually you can see already I have a suggestion here. I'll just press the tab key, and this what we are getting here. We are getting the screen position. So we are transforming our player position into the screen position. If the screen position is smaller than 0 and larger than screen height, then we are out of the camera view. You can see, and this was entirely suggested by the Copilot. I didn't need to code it, and just press the tab key, and I have this implemented. Okay, so with the Copilot, as you're writing the code, it automatically provides you suggestions, the AI of the Copilot. It's very, very, very good extension for coding. And here we are saying issue because the scene manager is not imported here. We are not using here. So to get it here, just type it over scene manager and just press the tab key. So it's up here using Unity Engine scene management. Okay, so let's see it and let's check if it works. All right, so let's play the game. Let's play it and let's go over the upper boundary. Okay, going up, high up, and you see it's game over. And as I told you, we are going halfway, you see, halfway, and then we are losing the game. Up, and then we are losing the game. Why it's this? Because these boundaries, we should change. Screen position is smaller than 0.05, and screen height is larger than 0.95, as we had it before, if you remember. Like this, and now this will be taking into account the size of the cube or a player. So when we will play this, now we should lose it immediately as we are touching the. Oh, actually, I think I should write it the other way around because we are losing immediately. Okay, that's definitely wrong. Let's go back to our code. Okay, actually, I want to see my screen position. So debug log screen position. Okay, and here I will just return false for now. And I just want to see what's actually wrong here. I will open the console. And let's see the screen position. Screen position. Okay, so we are using a different method as before because I can see the screen position is measured differently. On the top we are on the here on the bottom we are on a 0, but here is basically our screen size. We are not using the method as we had before. World to screen point. What we have here? So world to viewport point. I think that's what we should use now instead. And now it should be in between the 0 and 1. I want to just see it very quickly. Okay, let's see. I just want to see between 0 and 1. And yeah, now it's between the 0 and 1. I'm just looking at the Y positions here on the console, and you can see it's between the 0 and 1. So that's the method we should use. And now I can uncomment this, and this should now work. All right, let's wait. You can see sometimes AI will give you good solution, but maybe you want something else. So as this, so colliding, yeah, game over, going up, game over. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So restart, and now we need to stay between, which can be very challenging. Maybe the incrementation of steps should be smaller because we are maybe jumping too high. Okay. So now, what else ChatGPT can offer to us? Let's see, for example, this thing. When I will go to main camera and I will go to the size 10. So maybe I want this view here. Okay, so this bigger view. But we are spawning these enemies only in one line between the 4 and -4. So we'll tell ChatGPT about it. Let me see. It was in obstacle spawner, right? So an obstacle spawner, the random range is like this. Okay, I'll copy this and we'll ask ChatGPT about this. Okay, so in obstacle spawner, and the range of spawn is hard-coded. I'll paste this code here. So when the camera field, how it's called actually is field. Let me stop the game. I'll click on the camera. When the camera size is changed, okay. When the camera size is changed, the game map is bigger, but enemies are still spawning in hard-coded range. Change this so it reflects the actual camera size. Okay, I don't know what I wrote here. It's hard to write in real time and think about it. But basically, again, what it will do, I suppose, it will be checking the camera. It will be checking the camera, how big is the camera, and depending on this, it will be transforming it into our world position and choosing the range depending on the size of our view of the camera. Let's see, actually. The entire solution was thinking for 4 seconds, but now to adapt the script and the changes took already 25 seconds. So let's see obstacle spawner. Okay, again, you can see we are getting the camera position, orthographic size, spawn X, calculate the horizontal spawn position, right edge of the camera. All right, so here I'm choosing the right edge of camera. Optionally set the spawner position, not necessary if it's only used for spawning. Okay, this is not really necessary, I think. Why we are changing the transform position? I don't think we need it. And spawn obstacle here. So let's see how this look like. Spawn in the random range between the min y and the max y. And the spawn position, yeah, okay. So now it should be okay because now we are in the start. We are checking the camera position. All right, and we are getting these boundaries here computed. So I'll just copy this. I'll go to our obstacle spawner. I'll paste it here. I don't think we need to change the transform position, but okay, let's leave it as we have it. Now let's play the game and let's see if it works. So our size of the projection of the camera is 10. Let's see if this will adjust. Okay, yeah. Restart and it's adjusting. It's correct now. You can see now it's spawning between these ranges. Okay, we can make these enemies faster and yeah, this works well. Also, this spawning is not holding correctly. So where is the despawning? Despawning. So this spawning is obstacle mover, right? So here, obstacle mover. So I'll write to ChatGPT. Obstacle mover destroys game objects. Like how we have it. Okay, destroy game objects according to hard-coded position. Change it that objects are destroyed when they are outside of a camera view. I have so many issues here. So many typos. I will try to fix them. Okay, I'll just press enter. I want to see the solution. All right, we need to just wait a couple of seconds. Okay, I'll just look here. So this will be changed. This check will be getting the left edge of the camera, and depending on this position, will be destroying the game object. I suppose that will be the solution. Again, yeah, we are using the same thing here. Okay, is out of camera view. If it's smaller than 0. Okay, so we are using the same thing as we used before. Okay, so yeah, so if we are using the same thing, I'll go to player controller. This is out of camera view. I will just copy it. I'll go to obstacle mover, and in update, I will I will get it here. But we don't need to really check for the Y positions here, but we should check here for X position, as you see here. We don't need to check Y position at all. I don't know why I'm checking also for Y positions here, but we need to check for X positions. And if the screen position X is smaller than 0, then we will be destroying it. So we'll be calling this is out of camera view, then destroy game object. I think that should be doing the job. Okay. No, is the screen position is smaller? No, something wrong here. Let me see. Screen position is a camera position. No, it's okay. We are transforming our enemy position to the screen position. Okay, so it's correct. Yeah. Just go back to your game. I will just want to increase the speed of my enemies because I think they are moving too slow. So I'll go to the project view. I will go assets, prefabs, obstacle, and I will select here obstacle mover. I will get it to the 10 speed, and let's see if they will be destroyed. Okay, so I'm moving. Yeah, they're destroyed correctly now. Okay, perfect. This works for me. Okay, yeah, the game works fine now. I just want to check how long I'm implementing this already. So stopwatch. Okay, we are close to 1 hour. So we have 5 minutes. I don't want to cross 1 hour. So this works already. So what I will just be focusing now on will be our playability of this game, or the player experience. So I will just want to increase click on the player, and throttle power. Gravity I want to maybe even increase to minus 150 and throttle to 40 or 30. Let's see how I want to make it reactive, very reactive, and it will go up. I also down. Oops, that was too fast. Okay, that's not so bad. Let me try even more. I just want to experiment with it a little bit. Gravity minus 200. Throttle power will stay the same. Yeah, this can be actually. Even more. Let's go even more. Yeah. Click on the player. I will go minus 300. Okay, minus 300. Let's play the game. Oh, too fast. Oh, that is crazy. I just basically created Flappy Bird. Okay, it's kind of challenging. I think it's too much. It's definitely too much. So I need to go somewhere minus 250 maybe. Minus 250. Total power to 25. Let's go with this value. So let's see how it will be now. Yeah, it's definitely challenging. Okay, so let's keep it this way. The one thing I want to improve now will be obstacle spawner. I will go with the 0.5 intervals. 0.5. So it will be much quicker. Let's wait. And now we are getting much more enemies, but they're also on the up here, which is not ideal. And also completely on the bottom, so we can easily avoid them. Okay, now it's a bit harder. Okay. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's quite challenging. We can increase the interval even more. Obstacle spawner, go with the 0.3. 0.3. Oh, maybe we should just not let fall the player immediately, but after some time. But this is definitely challenging already. Okay, I don't know how I'll pass this. Oh, crashed. Okay, oh, it seems difficult. Yeah, you see, it is difficult, definitely. Definitely difficult. Let's try to go to main camera, just decrease the view to, let's say, 6 or 7. Let's go with a 7. I want to see how it will be when I will go into such a small view. Oh, that's definitely challenging. Okay, yeah, that's quite nice. And now you can imagine you can do various things. You can increase the speeds, decrease the speeds from different types of enemies. Maybe some enemies will be moving faster, some enemies will be moving slower, some enemies will be bigger, some enemies will be smaller. You can do some adjustments and whatever. But you can see you have created entire game. 1 hour. Okay, I'm not doing implementing anything more. Just with the ChatGPT. And if something is not clear at any point of your code, and you want to explain this part or this part, you can still copy it and paste it to ChatGPT. I would suggest for this use ChatGPT 4.0 model. It's much faster, and you will get a really simple explanation. So, for example, I don't understand this part here. Okay, we'll go to ChatGPT 4.0. Please explain me this method in detail and on practical example. Okay, I'll paste it here, and I should get example. I'm getting actually 2 responses. Okay, and you have here the entire explanations, how it works, everything. Everything is very long. You can read it out through, and you will get everything explained very, very well. So hopefully, this very simple game works for you. Now, what do you think? It can replace programmers? Kinda, but not just yet. For sure, you need to have some experience in the Unity engine. You need to know the stuff. You need to also think programmatically. So if something is not working or something you want to change, you need to know how to fix it. You need to also know programming because you need to know what methods to use. what questions asked to ChatGPT. So I don't think it will replacing programmers yet. You still need this supervision, and you need some expertise to check the code. Okay, in the future, I'm not pretty sure, because if you think about the programming jobs, it can basically replace any other job. It can do accounting, it can do whatever, it can do politics, it can do everything. So not just the coding. So you shouldn't be scared of your job. Okay, so because you still need to have a supervisions. If you should think about what you should think about, it's increase your productivity, and now you need much less people to get a product done. So for example, if you want to create a game, so in the game, and you are just one developer creating the game, this tool ChatGPT can really speed up your programming and developing of the game. You can ask the ideas, you can confirm your ideas, the ChatGPT can give you then some new ideas. So if you are thinking to create a product, it can be anything. It can be mobile application, it can be web application, it can be a game, whatever you think of. You can just work together with the ChatGPT. Is like your peer programmer, and it speeds up your work really rapidly, and you can just develop more things faster. And you can just create some cool applications or cool games. So don't think about that you are getting replaced by ChatGPT. If somebody will get replaced by ChatGPT, it will be everybody else. Okay, so any job can be basically replaced by ChatGPT. But think about it, that it will give you more opportunities to work alone, work on your product, start your business, and yeah, that's how you should think about it. So don't be scared. Just do your job. Try to develop cool things. That's gonna be it from this video. We created this very simple game, but what I will suggest to you already heard what I would suggest you, just to implement more things. You can just get here some background, change the models from the cube. You can get here some spaceship. Enemies can be some other spaceships, and so on. So I don't want to make it longer. I don't want to talk here much. So that's gonna be from this video, and I hope to see you around. Cheers.